Hi, my name is Tina, I'm head of design of VectoriaDesigns, and in this video I'm going to show you part 2 of the tutorials for the Life Notes project pack. In the first video I explained how to make the journal cover in and out, and in this video I'm going to show you how to create the notebooks that go in the journal cover under the elastics. I'm going to show you how to make the slipcases. I'm also going to show you how to make the envelope notebook covers, and I'm going to show you how to work with some of the embellishments. If you would like to discover this whole Life Notes project pack in our shop, I'll put a link for that in the description, and I'll grab your scissors. Let's get started. Now I'm going to make the notebooks that go behind the elastics. I've already made one, and I used plain paper in the center, and I used one of these to act as a cover. These are the 6-inch high journal papers. I printed a back on each of the backs. There are several backs like these, and I cut them out. I didn't cut out the sides yet because it might be that we need to do some cutting there after we've assembled the notebook. So I made one already, so you can use any paper that you like, plain paper, tea-dyed paper, coffee-dyed paper. And now I'm going to show you to make one with all these. Now I made the mistake to print these on 160 grams paper. For me that's too much. I would say 120 at the most. So I'm going to use fewer of these pages because otherwise the notebook will become way too thick. If you like, you can also mix these with regular paper, of course. I'm going to use a few of these. I'm going to mix them up a bit. I've chosen 5 of these because that's already going to make a substantial notebook, I think. No, maybe 6. Let's go for 6. There we go. I've made this kind of notebook before, but I'm still going to show you very quickly, just for those who haven't seen it yet. Because it's quite thick paper, I'm not just going to bend it, but I'm actually going to score in half. You can bend it also, but I just want to make sure that the center is actually in the center. I've scored all 5 pages and I'm going to fold them in half on the score line. And I'm going to fit them inside each other. Don't worry about these white pieces, they will be cut off at the end. There. And I think I'm going to use this one as my cover. Yeah. Now I'm going to punch the holes where the staples are going to go, and first, to make sure that they don't move, I'm going to add some binder clips here, a mat, and I'm going to use one staple there to see where my holes should be. This is personal, you can choose your own measurements of course, but I want my staple to start at 1 1/4 inch, like this, and 1 1/4 from that side also, and then use a staple as a template for the second hole on each side. And since I want this one to become the cover, I'm going to turn it around and place it on the other side like this. Now I'm going to put my staple through the holes. Like this. I turned this one around so that the lesser nice side of the holes will be hidden. You see? These will be on the inside and not on the outside. And then just bend those legs and repeat on the other side. When the staples are closed, just fold in half, like this, and then it's time to cut this off. Now you see from the top that when you fold a bunch of paper in half, it will always come into a point here. And you can leave it as that is, but I don't really like that, so I'm going to cut straight here. Now it's possible that a bit of these inner pages will be cut off. So keep that in mind. In the past videos, when I made such a notebook, I used a metal ruler and a heavy-duty craft knife and a cutting mat underneath, and I just kept trimming these pages one by one till I got through very gently. But I got myself a toy that helps me make journals a lot faster. Let me show you. This is a Dale 561 guillotine trimmer, and it's so easy to cut precisely a lot of pages with this item. There. See? Perfect. And now you can simply put this notebook behind this elastic. And if you only need the notebook, just pull it out, put it in your bag. And now you can start journaling. Or if you're not quite ready yet, you can add a bunch of embellishments to these that are in the kit also. Now let's make the slipcase to put this journal in. For this slipcase, I used the templates from page F9 and F10, and I printed it on 250 grams scrapbook paper because I want the slipcase to be quite sturdy, and putting very heavy cardstock in your printer doesn't always work very well. Now I must say I've made it a bit difficult for myself by choosing such a dark paper. I didn't see the cutting lines very well, so keep that in mind if you want to use a dark color as well. I already scored all the folding lines, and now it's actually pretty straightforward. I'm going to fold all these creases there. Now also I have made some marks in the center, and I'm going to cut out a notch there on both sides so I can take out the journal quite easily. These are the parts that go on the bottom and on the top. If you like to mix it up, just use another color of paper for these. Put some glue or double-sided tape on all the tabs. If your tape isn't as white as the tabs, don't worry, just make sure to glue your tape against the fold. And this part you can just leave it or cut it off if you like. Then take off the backings, like we always do. Glue this little part on the side, and I advise to put the fold on, right on the outside of this box. So there. And then you can glue this part also. If you're a bit worried about making a mess, just take these off one by one instead of all at the same time. Like this. Okay. Now I'm going to do the other side as well. Essentially, this is my slipcase. And now this journal will fit perfectly into this slipcase. Like this. See? And this whole set can make a very beautiful handmade gift for someone special. And if you like, you can add a spine label as well. This is one of the spine labels from page F39. They fit on the back of this slipcase. They also fit on the back of this journal. So if you want to add this type of closure, add this before punching this hole in the back. Just glue it on, even before the Mod Podge if you like. And then you can have one here, and you can have one here also. Another possibility for this slipcover is that you make a whole bunch of these kind of notebooks like I've shown here, but in a larger size, and you can fit a bunch of them in here. So these are quite substantial notebooks, and they already fit the slipcase, but you can easily add a few more as you see. So several possibilities, and you can make as many as you like. There are also templates and printables for this slipcase, but a bit smaller. Instead of 7-inch high, it is 6-inch high. And the third slipcase is a really small one. It can hold these note cards. You can find this on page F12. Because it's so small, I could actually fit all the parts together, so you don't have to glue part 1 to part 2, etc. It's all one piece. And I already cut it out, and I already scored all the lines, and I'm just going to fold all these lines over this. They all go inward. And I'm going to make a little notch on one side only. I already found the middle. This is a 5/8 of an inch hole punch. And now I'm going to put some double-sided tape, you can use glue of course, to these long flaps and these really short ones. And that's it. And then fold this small tab inwards. Start with one to be sure and line it up perfectly. Like this. Do the same with the other one. Like this. And now fold in the large one. I'm going to pull this one outside so I won't accidentally glue that one in the wrong way. So this. Now the upper one also like this, and you have a note card holder that can hold a bunch of these note cards like this, and with the notch you can easily pull one out. Now let me show you how to use the envelope notebook covers. There are a few different sizes in there. I'm going to make the cover for a 6-inch high notebook. Now these come in a few sizes, a few flap shapes, and also 2 different colors. And for the one I am using here, I've printed the page F17B. So this is the actual cover, and this is going to be the envelope flap. I have made a similar video tutorial for such a notebook already on our YouTube channel. So I've already cut out 3 pieces from the page, the body, the flap, and the panel, if you like. The panel goes on top of this flap, but first I'm going to add a bit of ink to hide the edges a bit. And I'm simply going to use a bit of glue to do that. Put that in the middle of the flap in front. So, like this. I'm going to put this aside for a bit, and I'm going to concentrate myself on the cover. I want the cover to be a bit more sturdy. I printed it on 160 grams paper, but I still think that's not enough, and besides, on the other side I didn't print anything. I'm going to add some scrapbook paper. This is 230 grams of paper, and I'm going to just glue that on the back. This already has been cut to the same size. To glue these together, I'm going to use double-sided tape all around. Not all around, I'm wrong there, I'm sorry, but on the top and the bottom only, because on the sides we're probably going to cut a bit off, and I don't know where yet, so I'm not going to use some double-sided tape there. I'm just going to use some glue in the center. Let's take these off. And I use some glue all over in the center. And put this one right on top. So yes, and as you've already seen, this front panel has some white edges. It's the same like with the other notebooks. We're going to trim that afterwards. And I'm going to score this in the center. Here. And fold this one over like this. Now I have a very, very sturdy cover. And just like with the notebooks, I'm going to use the 6-inch high journal pages. And of course, again, because I use such heavy paper on these, I'm going to score these instead of just fold them. And then let's fold them in half. Stack them on top of each other. And for the regular notebooks, I punched the holes for the staples at the same time. But because this cover is now a whole lot sturdier, I'm going to do that separately. But I know I want my staples 1.25 inches from this edge here and on the other side also. And use a staple as a template for the next hole. That's going to line up with the other pages perfectly. So this one's done. These ones, clip them together and also measure 1.25 inches or whatever you like. If you like them closest to the edge or even one staple instead of two in the center, go for it. And assemble these like the regular notebooks. Take a staple and from the outside in, put through the holes and through the other holes. And just close the ends and do the same on the other side. There. And just fold over, give it a good squeeze. And now I'm going to trim it, so it's going to be 3 inches and 7/8. So I trimmed this notebook just like I showed before on the other notebooks. Now it's time to attach this flap, but like this cover, I want to make it a bit more sturdy. And I have a leftover piece from this pattern paper. I'm just going to trace this. The width is the same. And I'm just going to trace this flap. Oops, doesn't matter. Like this. Cut it out. And I'm going to glue this on the back of this flap. So now this flap is very sturdy also, and I'm going to score these two lines. They're 1/8 inch apart. Try to score as accurate as possible. And because this flap is now super sturdy, just take some time to fold these two scored lines. It's nice to make something sturdy, but it's going to be a bit harder to work with. Keep that in mind. There. This 1/8 inch piece will cover the thickness of your notebook. Open it up again a bit. Like this, and put a piece of double-sided tape on this tab. Take your notebook, make sure it's faced up the right way, get through the back and line up the first fold next to the tab with the edge of your back cover. Like this. Okay. And now if you close your notebook, you have an envelope cover. I'm going to ink the edges for a bit, because if you glue two pieces together, you're bound to have some white edges, and unless you're a super crafter. I'm gonna do these also, just to make it blend a bit more. It's of course smarter to do that before you put the whole thing together. And now, how to close this notebook? Well, there are a few possibilities. You can do this with some circles and a string around it, just like I showed with a small envelope in the cover. To see that, go to the journal cover tutorial, but I'm going to use something far more easily this time, and that is these two small Velcro pieces, and these have an adhesive back So I simply take off one of these. I'm gonna stick it right here in the center under the flap. And then I'm going to add the second piece on top. I'm going to remove that backing. And I'm simply going to close this envelope and it will stick at the right place. And now this is my closure. There, notebook is closed. This only works when your cover is sturdy enough. When your cover is not sturdy enough, this won't last. And if you make a bunch of these will also fit perfectly into the 6-inch high slipcase. Just like this one, but there's a smaller one, 6-inch high, and these will fit in there perfectly. These envelope covers are also in the pack 6.75-inch high, and they will fit in this 7-inch slip cover. There will be a 1/4 inch max room up there, but that's all. Let me show you what you can do with a few of the embellishments. This page is page F28, and these are vintage photo frames. First, I'm going to cut these out. You can cut them all apart if you like, but I'm going to keep these 3 attached. By the way, I printed these on 160 gram paper, that is 59 pounds. And before cutting out these windows, I'm going to score these apart. I'm not going to fold them yet, that's not necessary, but I'm going to cut these 3 windows. Cutting these straight lines isn't very difficult, but for the curved lines, I'm going to use my scissors. If you have a steady hand, you can do that with your craft knife also, of course. Now I have the 3 photo frames, and on page F29 you have a template for cards that can go on the backs of these. And I printed it on craft paper. You can print it on any type of paper that you like. These were also printed on 160 grams paper, like are these. And these will go on the back. These frames have the images of breads in the corners, and if you like, you can add some real breads also. And the idea is that you can put some vintage images under here. These are not in the kit, these vintage images, but you can find lots of them online. Or even better, use your own images. They don't always have to be larger than the frame. I have a very small one here, and I'm actually going to tear this one up. And yes, I am intentionally leaving this white, otherwise I would have torn it the other way. You can leave them white, but I like to ink those edges. This way they look a bit burnt. And just glue it in here. So there are multiple possibilities. First, I am going to glue these in the back. I'm going to put this one here, and this one will come here later. Let me put that aside for a bit. I'm just going to apply some double-sided tape here and here all around. It's easy that they're all linked together. I can just do this in one go. Of course, these photos won't go all the way up to the edge, but this will go on the back, so I'm just going to tape it all. And there are a few pieces that aren't taped yet, so I'm going to remove this one already and tape over there. glue yourself to the frames or to the table. And now I'm going to do these. These curves make it a bit harder to tape right, so you can use glue instead if you like. But I'm going to try to do this with tape. I love tape. Oh, tape all the way. So I'm going to apply these pictures. I'm also going to apply this one. About here, it's okay. Then I'm going to glue this whole piece to these backs. If you're using tape like I do, you only have one chance. Just make it count. All right. And this little piece I'm just going to glue here in the center. I'm just going to use a bit of glue stick for that. You don't have to go all the way up to the edges with this technique. It's kind of nice when the edges aren't stuck completely. This is my little photo album and I'm going to fold this one here. Oh no, I'm going to fold it like this. Other way around. And this one like this. And surprise, surprise, if I take my journal and I open up this envelope, these fit in here perfectly. So another embellishment is these folding tags. There are regular tags in this kit also, but these tags fold over. They have a little window where you put something behind. It says specimen here. So let me show you quickly how to make this. I'm going to cut one out. I like to score the folding line before cutting out those triangles. Fold in half. Check if everything lines up, and if it doesn't, just trim the edges so they really line up perfectly. Open up again, take a cutting mat, craft knife and ruler and cut out the window. And there's another page, page F25, that has a few specimen. One of those you can put behind here. I am going to choose this lovely cotton image. It doesn't matter if this is cut very nice or not. You won't see the edges anyway. This will come here. So I'm going to tape this up. I'm going to use 1/4 inch tape all around. It fits right next to the window. Some tape above the window and below so that the image will stick. Gonna put my image right here. This. And then you can put some tape or glue on the places that don't have any tape. It's not really necessary, but I like things to stick. So, and then just fold in half, punch a hole, and you have a lovely tag that has 2 sides. By the way, these tags fit perfectly in here, if you like, or even in this front pocket also. Another piece that is in this pack is this envelope. This is a gift card envelope and it fits the 6-inch journal pages fold in half. I have one of the 6-inch journal pages here. And indeed, if you fold this in half, you can embellish it, etc, etc, etc. It will fit nicely in this envelope. Let me construct this for you. First, cut it out. By the way, I printed this on 120 grams of paper. That is more than heavy enough for an envelope. Ink the edges if you like to hide any flaws. Score the folding lines. And fold your envelope. And you see the bottom flap doesn't completely reach the edge of the tabs on the side, so don't put glue here. If you like, you can make a little mark as to where you want to glue. So you want to glue here, 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 about this area. You can use tape if you like. I'm just going to use some glue stick. And close the envelope. And then take your card. You can embellish this to the fullest. It will just slide in there. And there you have it, a beautiful envelope that can hold a handmade gift card.